Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1062A, and today's date is August 30th, 2016, and the title of the episode is Central Bankers Know We Are in a Recession. They are just not telling the public. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, today on the market, we see the market is down, and we see gold once again is being suppressed. It is down, $13 or so. And that reminds me once again of the movie The Big Short. And I know I continually bring this up, but there's a lot of similarities that happened prior to 2008 that are happening right now. Think about this as we discuss gold. During the subprime security crisis, prior to the collapse of that system, in 2006 and 2007, the government, the central bank, had the ability to make everyone believe the subprime securities were AAA, that they weren't going down, that they were secure. Now, they kept that illusion alive for many, many years. Why did they do that? People kept on buying them. Pension funds continually purchased them. Everyone thought they were getting this great investment. And then at the last second, while everyone was in, what happened? We found out that they weren't AAA. We found out they were all garbage. But the U.S. government central bankers, they had the ability to keep that illusion alive. Now, turn that to what gold is doing right now. Think about this for a second. If gold moves up to the natural price of gold, where it should be at this point, which is around $7,000 or so an ounce, how would people react to this? Well, they would say, well, the dollar is devaluing. Something's wrong with the economy. Why is gold so high? Just like prior to 2008, the U.S. government central bankers, what are they doing to fool everyone? Once again, they're telling everyone that gold is worthless. During the subprime, they were telling everyone that the subprime securities were worth a lot. It's always the opposite of what is really happening. So when you see gold going down, it tells you they're keeping the illusion alive, and eventually the illusion will break. And once it breaks, just like the subprime securities, those came crashing down. What do you think is going to happen to gold and silver? It's going to skyrocket. And of course, as they continually tell people to get into the stock market, because we're in this incredible recovery, that the economy is doing fine, the stock market's going to come down. All the people that are in bonds, the same thing's going to happen. Whatever they're telling you to do the opposite. Now, out in the Eurozone, we see the economic sentiment in the Eurozone. Well, it edged lower in August. And it fell from 104.5 in July to 103.5. Now, businesses in all the important service sectors slowed and decreased optimism regarding the state of the industry. The Industrial Confidence Index fell to negative 4.4 from negative 2.6. The Consumer Confidence Index fell from negative 7.9 to negative 8.5. So when we look at all these indicators, this tells us that people are becoming very pessimistic about the economy. They're not believing that the economy is getting better, doing well. They're thinking to themselves, what is going on here? Why do we have these problems? The Italians, they have given up looking for jobs. 37% of unemployed Italians gave up with the job search. 13% landed new work, and a full half found their status unchanged. because they realize I can continually look, but there's nothing out there. And this is what's happening here in the United States. People are looking. They want a job. They put resumes out. If they can find jobs to send them to. Those people who find jobs to send them to, they realize they're not getting a response. Something's wrong. And we can see right now that the situation around the globe is continually getting worse. We see the US government has come out with the Consumer Confidence Index. Now, of course, they have the Consumer Confidence Board where they fund them. And we can see they have pushed this up as high as they possibly can do at this point. And we see a correlation between consumer confidence and the S&P. Every time the S&P goes up, we see people feel more comfortable. Stock market's going up. I feel better. But when we look at the Gallup consumer confidence, we actually see the opposite happening. Because this is people looking at the economy and Gallup going to the everyday person saying, how do you feel about the economy? And they say, you know something? I don't feel good. Something doesn't seem right. Something is off. I can't put my finger on it, but something is off. And what's very interesting about all this, back in 2007 of August, consumer confidence rose to its highest point. And 1 year later, the system came crashing down. Here we are once again, where they're trying to convince us that everyone believes that everything is fine. But how can everything be fine when a record number of college grads are working for minimum wage jobs? 23% of workers are in low-pay sectors, and they have bachelor degrees or higher. That's up 18% 15 years ago. So what does this mean? This means that a share of college grads, they're working at minimum wage jobs, and it's at all-time highs right now, which barely covers the cost of living, and it really doesn't cover their student loans. If the job market was so great and the economy so incredible, we wouldn't be seeing this. We also wouldn't be seeing home prices starting to decline. Now, what's very interesting about this is that we've been talking about this for quite a while, where we've been looking at the real estate market. Now, in the beginning, people were like, no, the real estate market is doing fantastically well. I don't see what you're talking about, and I don't understand. My area is doing fine. It's incredible. People are buying and selling. Well, if you go back to 2007, prior to 2008, yeah, people were saying that. Real estate market is incredible. What are you talking about? Real estate never goes down. Well, now we come forward a couple of months, and we see that things are rapidly deteriorating. Even CoreLogic's 20-city composite price index is showing there is a decline in prices for 3 straight months. They've dropped by 0.07%. So this tells us something. It tells us that the housing market, it's not as strong as it's being portrayed as. Things are rapidly deteriorating very, very quickly. We're getting a global recession alert. And we realize that we have this U.S. economic slowdown. We're seeing a sharp drop in demand for heavy trucking. We're seeing a drop-off in train and intermodal traffic. And now we have a third major red flag. And we can see that there is a slowdown in sales and new orders for airplanes. Because we can see Boeing. They announced on Monday it would refrain from increasing jetliner prices for the coming year. The first time it has held prices steady since 2009. Every time we were in a recession, Boeing said they're not going to raise prices. Here we are in the recession right now. And what's very interesting about this is the U.S. government central bankers, they're never going to let you know that a recession has started. They're never going to let you know there's a depression or a collapse. They'll let you know maybe a couple months, a year later that we've had this problem. But they're going to blame it on another group or another country. They're going to make some excuse up. They'll also tell you how they have it contained. They'll also tell you that, don't worry, we spoke to the Fed. We made a plan. The Fed is going to create more funds, maybe $2 trillion to start off with. If that doesn't work, we'll move it up to 3, 4. And if that doesn't work, we'll just open the floodgates and just pile in as much currency as possible to help out the situation that someone else caused, of course. But we're already in a recession, heading into a major depression right now. And what's very interesting is that the Dallas Fed respondent said sometime after the election, data will show that in 2016 the U.S. was already in a recession, which tells you right off the bat, they already know we're in a recession. They already know we have this major problem. Just like in 2008, when they told us the subprime was contained. They're not forecasting any type of recession in the year that we had the recession. We are in a recession heading to a depression right now. The U.S. government central bankers, they cannot stop it. They know this. We see people around the world, they understand there's going to be major problems. People are taking their funds out of the banks right now. Germans, they're saying, you know something? We're in negative interest rate land right now. Instead of keeping my funds inside the bank, I'm going to purchase a safe and keep it at home. And we can see right now, this is what most of the people are doing. Because what are you really earning in the bank? What does that really give you? It gives you nothing. Especially when there's bail-ins and when they lock that currency down, you'll definitely have nothing. Because the central bankers, the U.S. government, they know the recession is here. They know the system is collapsing. They know they can't stop this. And they're preparing for when this system comes down. They don't want to bring it down the way they want to bring it down. The central bankers don't want something out of left field because they need their story. They need the entire narrative to go in their way. They need to let everyone know why this is happening. And it's not their fault. Had nothing to do with us. Had to do with everybody else. And that's what they're going to do. And we can see right now that people need to get ready. The writing is on the wall. This is a whisper. There were whispers in 2007 going into 2008. There were a certain few that heard them, that looked into them. I'm sorry to say, the hundreds of millions of others, they drank the Kool-Aid that this can go on forever. Well, we're not going to drink the Kool-Aid. We're going to listen to the whisper. We're going to look at the facts. We're going to look at what is really going on here. And from everything that we've been tracking and everything that we've been looking at, we are the few that realize that this system is crashing. Now we see Germany, they decided to kill the TTIP, and now France has come out and says they are ready to end negotiations with the TTIP. They're saying the Americans are giving us nothing. This is not how allies should be negotiating. So we can see right now the TTIP, the TPP, hopefully they're dead in the water, because if these passed, power would have been passed on to the corporations, sovereignties of nations would be lost, and the American people and the people around the world would suffer with this type of trade agreement. Because the trade agreement is for the central bank, for the corporations, not for the people, not for the other countries. And we can see right now this is why they kept it a secret. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.